So thanks everyone for coming along. For those that aren't either judging or pitching, it's always good to have people in the audience that can see and be involved in the early stages of the iAwards. And I'd say that the HILLS YIA is one of the earlier parts of the competition structure. But it gives people the opportunity at the earlier stages of business to come in and really have a shot at making people understand what their vision is and creating an entryway for innovation, which is important in our industry. It's important to facilitate innovation, important to facilitate innovation in young people as well. So we're going to start off in a few minutes. I'll be emceeing for today. My name's Jordan. I'm an IT strategist and innovation strategist, so I help people innovate like you're doing, but anywhere from SMBs up to enterprise, which is going to be a little bit harder to actually get the ball rolling. So we've got a fairly rapid schedule today, and I'd like to just start by introducing the judges at the back of the room. So they'll all be there. Oh, yeah, that's great. Everyone turn around. So judges at the back, wave. But thank you for the time that you provided here, and thank you to the mentors yesterday. These people have a lot to do. It's not like they're just sitting around twiddling their thumbs, so their time is valuable. So our lead judge, Tom Skies, Stephen Brown, Jithma Benaragama. Did I pronounce that right? Almost. Yeah, good. Mark McDonald and Mark Neems. So we've got, I'll go through the categories here today. We've got cloud, data and mobile divisions, and that's a self-selection process. As we all know, those are starting to get a little bit intertwined these days. It's very, very seldom you'll see a cloud product that isn't addressing the data they're consuming or pushing it to mobile. So I'm sure you can understand that they're a little bit integrated, but we've tried to separate them out as possible. So yesterday we had a mentoring session over at KPMG offices. Thank you KPMG for providing that space. And essentially we brought in all the competitors that you'll see today and tried to provide some sort of feedback from a bunch of mentors, not our judges of course, but in order to facilitate a bit of structure and from an enterprise level what we're looking at, and also from a competition and criteria level what we're looking to see. So obviously that can be a little intimidating with 10 people sitting around a boardroom, but I thought it was handled very well. We were able to get some rapid feedback out, and I hope that we see people adapting that today. So what we're looking at here is about the pitch. It's about how well you know your product, how well you know your industry, the basis of innovation behind your product, service, or system or company. When we were judging some of the other parts of this competition, we were looking at things like, have you built a strong team and commercial feasibility? And while that is important here, we really have a key focus on the innovation of the product and a true understanding of the market and a true understanding of your direction and strategy. So we have people in this room that are at all different stages. We have people down at the entry level who have a concept, all the way through to people who are about to hit growth stage and might be pumping out 20 staff. So we have quite a range. So that's why we really focus on what is the innovation that's core, not what's your revenue and what's the size of your team. So I'd like to just kick off pretty much straight away so that we can kind of get this thing rolling. And I'd like to introduce Adam Trone from Campus. He will be the first competitor in the cloud category. So welcome, Adam.
See if it works. Before they get there, wouldn't that just make sense? Introducing Campus, an online student community board that connects industry with local students. The inspiration came from my personal experience as a student and a graduate without experience into an increasingly competitive job market. And I invested my entire savings into this idea because I see the potential in our young people as much as you do. And I see how hard it is for them to get their foot in the door. And I wanted to help change that. I wanted to make it easier, more convenient, simpler for the students and their potential employers to connect. In simplest terms, Campus is like the Seek for students. Our brand represents young, fresh minds and their potential, not professionals, but up-and-coming professionals. Campus allows industry users to perform a search for a student based on their educational institution, field of study, skills, hours available, and also the type of opportunity that they're interested in. To post any opportunities directly on the board for a fee for students to apply. Look, the relevance and magnitude of this problem that campus is tackling is massive. We've got the highest youth and graduate unemployment in the last 23 years. There is a major talent leak. We've got locally educated talent leaving interstate and overseas in pursuit of opportunities, and it's leaving us worse off economically. There is also a rise in contract and freelancing work as opposed to full-time work, which is becoming more extinct. And future graduates really need to start thinking about self-employment as much as working for other people. And campus can help solve this. Currently, no platform effectively meets students' needs to connect with industry prior to graduation. Our biggest success story and proof of concept is this guy in the black shirt so far. His name is Bill. He joined us as an intern to gain experience, and he got a job out of it. After the recruitment lady called me mobile to get a reference on Bill, she said, "We don't actually hire graduates, but Bill has done some terrific work and we want him." So it was a win-win because campus gained quite a bit of stuff out of Bill, and Bill, in return, he got the experience that he needed to step into the industry of his choice. Simple as that, and it worked. And that's why there are thousands of eager students joining up, and some well-known industry names as well. We're about to commence selling listings to registered training organisations at an annual fee so that their students can actually be found based on their institution by employers. And we also have fresh leads with a number of city councils that are interested in advertising on our platform. And as far as opportunity posts go, we plan to sell them in bulk to industry associations, business centres, or any 15 years experience. If campus is successful in winning a prize here at the iAwards, the money will go towards the development of a mobile application to help us put campus into the hands of our domestic and international students. So, get behind campus, because by doing so, you will be supporting thousands of local students, the future of our workforce. Thank you.
Thank you, Adam. Congratulations on the work that you've done so far.
Thanks.
So, whilst Alex from Tanda comes up to the stage, I'd just like to talk about this weird thing that's on my face and what it represents. A lot of you are probably looking at me really weird because I look like a cyborg. As you probably know, the Google Glass, you probably heard that it was dead. But realistically, when you look at innovational concepts, and much like the ones you're seeing today, it's not so much just about the hardware or the infrastructure behind it, it's about application. So just like Alex has just said, campus is in competition with Seek. But innovation isn't always just about building something new, it's about applying it in new ways, making key points of difference, and ensuring that the market that you're tailoring it for is addressed and that you're really catering to their needs and requirements. So without further ado, I'd like to introduce Alex from Tanda. Tanda automates payroll for businesses with 10 or more staff and moves these processes online and applies big data analysis and automation to decrease the time taken to process payroll.
Cool. Thanks for doing my pitch, Jordan. I might have a second go at it though. Cool, yeah, so my name's Alex. Me and 3 friends started a company called Tanda back in 2012. I'll dive into what we do first. As Jordan said, paying people in Australia is really, really hard. There's about 150 documents called awards, and they're 1,000-page legalese documents that define every aspect of paying an employee in a variety of situations. So when they get penalty rates, when they get overtime allowances, what their minimum wage is, all sorts of stuff like that. Now, for a reason that we couldn't figure out back in 2012, no one had thought to actually automate the entire interpretation of these documents. There was software for time clocking, so figuring out the hours that employees in blue-collar industries work. There's software for rostering, so telling people when they're supposed to work and obviously mapping that back to their timesheets. but no one did the last bit very well, certainly not at an SMB level. So we thought we'd go make a system for it, because we looked at these documents and they're basically security, childcare and retail. And there's sort of like a laundry list of clients there. We've also got some other bigger clients, like for example TriStar Medical, which is the largest medical provider in the country. Across all their clinics use the same system. We've gotten to this point without raising any external capital, and we're very opinionated on this fact that we think the best way of building a good product is for your customers to tell you how to do it. So our only investors are our customers. Oh, the slides are frozen. That's not good. Cool. Sorry about that. So we've gotten to this point is, as well as obviously a lot of direct sales, so lots of networking with business owners, we've also talked to a lot of accounting software. So obviously, once you've figured out how much to pay your staff, this sort of process is involved in actually paying them. We partner with all the major accounting software providers, Xero, MYB, Intuit, working with NetSuite, SAP, and a few large ones now, to plug our systems seamlessly into theirs. So as a business owner, your staff record the hours that they work, and it flows all the way through to your accounting software without any further manual work. This is one of our first customers, David Goodwin. He was the president of the Australian Chamber of Commerce. He also runs a logistics company called Interport. He told us that Tanner saves him an hour every week for every employee. That's through a combination of manual paperwork processing and time theft, which is fixed with a time clocking system. He has 100 staff. You do $20 an hour, 100 staff every year. That's $100,000 of value we're creating just for his business on a yearly basis. Spread that across 500 plus customers nationwide. We're creating a lot of value already. But obviously we're keen to do more. These slides don't like me. So a lot of people ask us why we bothered doing a water interpretation. If you're from Queensland, you'll remember the Queensland Health payroll debacle. About 3 years ago, all the nurses in the state got paid wrong. The reason why? Queensland Health brought in a system for a water interpretation made by a Canadian company. Turns out payroll in Canada is a lot simpler than payroll in Australia. Here it's uniquely difficult. So $1 billion later, they're still trying to fix it. Our approach was we built this really visual tool that tells you exactly how your staff are being paid on a per minute basis. We put the onus back onto the business owner or to the payroll officer so they can look at this and say, that shouldn't be ordinary time there, that should be overtime. And they can sort of drag and drop these things and figure out exactly how the system should be paying them. This lets them obviously visually tell if the award is correct or if they're using a custom EBA to go and very much build these building blocks, these Lego blocks of how payroll should work. So we know there's 2 million people employed casually in Australia. We've got 10,000 so far. We're working on the rest now. But that's a pretty small market compared to what we have worldwide. What we've figured out is we built this platform that's, I guess, the best way of dynamically telling people how to pay staff. And we're now trying to figure out how to bring this to a global market. So last year, we went on a world tour, so to speak, where we visited the UK, Canada, and the US and met with key people in the industry in that space. We met with Xero, for example, in the US. We met with the UK Canadian Minister of Trade. And if the slides would load, you'd see his photo. And we're now investing heavily in, I guess, technical growth. So trying to figure out how we can scale a platform up from supporting 10,000 employees to supporting 1 million people or 10 million people. Because there's hundreds of millions of people worldwide who have the same problem in terms of paying them being a really difficult, arduous process. So that's the story of Tanner so far. We're really excited about where it's going in the future. Thanks for listening.
Congratulations, Alex from Tanda. Our next competitor, Callum, is from Mossman High School, and his business is called WhenThat. WhenThat is a unique dynamic timetabling system. It's not just a generic scheduling program, but it's designed to work from the ground up in the way students and schools actually function. Congratulations, Callum.
Hi, my name is Callum Predovac, and I'm the founder of WhenThat, a unique dynamic timetabling system for high school students. Try to think back to when you were in high school. You'd just come from being one of the biggest kids in a small primary school. You knew where everything was, had one teacher and one classroom. Then wham! You're in high school. You have no idea where to go. It's huge. You have multiple subjects, classrooms, and teachers. The timetable changes every second week. That's pretty much the definition of stress. In fact, it's a little like being here today. I went through that only a couple of years ago, and when my brother started high school this year, I wanted to save him from the worst of the experience. But this isn't just about my brother and me. There are almost 1,000 students at my high school, 500,000 in New South Wales, and 1.5 million in all of Australia. That's a lot of stressed kids, a lot of stressed parents, and a marked opportunity that I'm meeting head-on with When That. From the student's point of view, When That tells them where they need to be at any time in the school day and reminds them about before or after school activities. Students and their teachers can generate items on the student's to-do list to help keep track of homework, assignments, and so on. The backpack feature tells students what books and materials they need to take to school every day. There's even a map to show new students where their classrooms are. When That removes all of the uncertainty around a student's day. From the school's point of view, When That is entirely customizable to fit with multi-week timetables, differing bell times, and so on. The award system allows teachers to recognize individual students' achievement. Finally, When That can be branded with the school's own logo and colors. A parent view is also available, meaning parents know what's happening with their children. This is important to marketing to P&Cs, as they're made of concerned parents, worried about their children. All of this is entirely cloud-based and built to be completely scalable. That means it's accessible from any device, from a computer to a smartwatch. It also means it's simple for a school to adopt, with no installation required. Finally, and this is really important, because it's cloud-based, it's impossible for a student to leave behind at home. When That is currently in use at Mossman High School in Sydney, and the feedback has been extremely positive. Feedback over the last 9 months has led to several positive changes, including the addition of the backpack feature and allowing students to customize the look and feel of their timetable. The potential market for When That is the other 1,500 high schools and the countless overseas high schools. Because the system is based in the cloud, there's really no limitation on the number of potential users from a technical point of view. All the competing products are generic or business-based timetables that simply don't work with the way schools really work. And they certainly haven't been created by a student. And in any case, if my age were to create any concerns about my ability to deliver, the proof is in the fact that When That exists today as a fully functioning system. As schools now use back-end programs to generate each student's timetable, we're working to integrate When That with those systems and their standards. We have an alliance with EdVal, whose system is being used to generate timetables in over 500 Australian schools, and many more overseas. We're working with EdVal so that we can export individual student timetables directly to When That, so the students don't need to enter their timetable data. We also have a marketing alliance, which will see them use their channels to promote When That, and allow us to attend trade shows with them. When That is here today. It's in use and helping people now. But it has the potential to be picked up and used by schools all across Australia and internationally, relieving a major cause of stress for the lives of thousands of students and their families. And what could be better than being both positioned to take advantage of a major market opportunity and do some good along the way?
Thank you, Callum. Innovation comes from many ages. Our next presenter is Joseph Volante from EBLA. And EBLA is named as the world's oldest law library. EBLA makes the law easier to discover and understand than ever before. The application works by mapping cases and legislation to sets of legal topics. That's right.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Joseph Valente and I'm the founder of EBLA. We're a startup based here in Melbourne and we were funded by the University of Melbourne's Melbourne Accelerator program last year. To give you a bit of background on myself, I'm a pretty odd person. I've got a law degree and a computer science degree. So I look at problems in a legal lens through a technical perspective. And through my travels as a law student, I ended up once working in a juvenile prison. And we were advising some of the inmates there, and one of the people there was a 15-year-old boy who'd been beaten up by a police officer. And when we said to him, "Why didn't you pursue this? Why didn't you seek justice?" He said, "Aren't police officers allowed to use reasonable force against me?" And so I thought about this for a second and I thought, how would this guy go and get some information about what is reasonable force? So I went into this site, which has basically got a monopoly over legal information in Australia. It's a government-funded website. I won't name it because I don't like talking smack about people. But this is a search for reasonable force. And as you can see, the results don't exactly have any bearing on, what your query is at all. So you've got, the Domestic Animals Amendment, Dangerous Dogs Bill, and document number 8069458. No one knows what that means, especially if you're a layperson. But you might be saying, hey, I'm not an inmate. I wasn't in prison when I was 15. What do I need this for? But this affects everyone. This is a graph of the length of US federal tax law. Now, these are US numbers, but the Australian case is quite similar. Here in Australia, our Income Tax Assessment Act is now over 5,000 pages. Just a show of hands here, who here does their own tax return? Smattering of hands? Most people use their accountant. Most people have to use third parties, advisors, because the system is just so complex. Now, you might say, well, surely we can just make the law simpler. But here is an example of how the world is becoming increasingly complex and we generally just have more data around everything. The articles on Wikipedia over the last 5 years have ballooned as well. So we're living in a world where this is just a fact of life. Things are more complex. We're not going to ever be able to reduce the amount of law that's out there. But what we can do is organise it and make it easy to understand. And that's where EBLA comes in. We thought about this question. We thought, why is the law confusing? And we came up with 3 problems. It's impossible to search, it's not organised in any comprehensible way, and it's difficult to understand. So we created a solution. A 3-pronged approach that uses cloud-based search infrastructure tailored for the law, intelligent legal topics that nest into each other to organise the law under topics, and crowdsourced intelligence from lawyers and experts in the field to help ordinary people understand the law. This is our product. It's sleek, it's very familiar to most people who've used any sort of Web 2.0 product. You've got a feed of all the latest cases and information, all of the expert commentary, and a unified search bar at the top. When you search for a case, you can filter down by court, by year, by topic. Super easy to use. Any person can use it, even a layperson. Let's dive deeper into this. So the legal search interface is our own proprietary stuff. It's Elasticsearch based, but we've done some stuff to make it better for legal queries, specifically Australian legal queries. Highly scalable, takes thousands of queries very quickly, and costs less than $1,000 a month to run. The topic system is a system we created ourselves using expert lawyers and computer scientists working together. With all the topics are nested together, and there's parent and children topics, so you can go from criminal law into negligent manslaughter, and then find your way down to a case or a specific piece of expert commentary that a person's left that explains what that is to you. And finally, the legal editor, which is our kind of secret sauce. This is an editor that we created that allows lawyers and legal experts to leave commentary and cite cases as they write. So they simply type in a case name, it finds the case in the database, they hit OK, and then a link is left back on that case. So whenever people are searching for it in future, it all works together seamlessly, just as you'd expect on something like Wikipedia. Where can you help? We think we've solved the technology problem for legal content. We launched a cases pilot last year that had over 1,000 users, but we've had trouble accessing the content. The next step for us is to get deals with courts and government to help us get licenses so that we can put the content in our system and enable everyone to use this. iAwards are the ideal channel into these large institutions as they'll give us credibility, but we need your help to do that. Thanks very much for the time today, and I hope you've enjoyed our presentation. Cheers.
Congratulations, Joseph. Our next presentation is by Anthony from Curtin University, and he'll be discussing his robotic hand extension. The robotic hand exoskeleton is designed by Anthony and is a demonstration of how taking a cross-disciplinary approach to design and development can create novel solutions to age-old problems.
Thanks. Hi everyone, my name's Anthony. I'm a mechatronics engineer and I design and invent technology for a living. And today I'm here to talk to you about one of my inventions, which I hope will change the way that you think about healthcare in the future. You see, right now healthcare takes a one-size-fits-all approach. Healthcare takes a one-size-fits-all approach, but I believe that the future of medicine is in personalised treatments. We're already beginning to see this in our pharmaceuticals industry, where we're tailoring drugs to target patients with specific genes in order to achieve the best outcome possible. And when I heard about this, I thought it was fantastic. And so as an inventor, it got me thinking, how can we apply this same methodology to the way we treat the 15% of the population which suffer some form of disability. And my answer to this question is what I'm here to pitch to you today. Using just $400 of funding and my knowledge of engineering and a 3D printer, I was able to develop the entire system, from the patent-pending mechanical design, which recreates the dexterity of the human hand, and uses a mathematical algorithm to automatically adjust to fit any person's hand, all the way down to the electronics, which uses a PID control system to control each finger. That's the same technology which is used in your industrial robotics, all the way down to the cruise control in your car. And I've literally built it into the hands of the user. And finally, the software. The software which re-envisions the way physicians can use technology to better improve their practice. My software allows physicians to precisely monitor and control patient performance, as well as remotely operate the exoskeleton from anywhere around the world in real time. Not only will the device be tailored towards each patient, but the software allows physicians to tailor-make their rehabilitation patterns towards each patient using the intuitive 3D interface, again from anywhere around the world. Now you may ask, what is the potential market for this? Well, to put things into perspective, for every knee replacement, there are 2 hand tendon repair surgeries. That's over 10,000 surgeries a year before we even begin to consider those suffering from other diseases such as Parkinson's or strokes who can also benefit from this. Those thousands and thousands of people, that's my market. And to reach my market, I've partnered up with Curtin University. Through this partnership, we've received a lot of expressions of interest from companies like Myoto, biotech companies like Myoto, which as well as a lot of investors who are interested in making this a reality. But more importantly, who want to see this help and give people back the quality of life that they deserve. Beyond just rehabilitations, think about all the other applications that are possible. Potential applications in augmented reality, force amplification, and even gaming. And better yet, think about the millions of people that we can help if we continue to invest in this type of technology. My goal is to continue to develop this type of technology and expand to adjacent markets such as prosthetics and possibly other limbs. All this was done with just a 3D printer, myself, and $400 of funding. Think about what we can achieve with your help. Thank you.
Congrats, Anthony. Awesome stuff. Our next presentation is by Brad from Premonition's Logistics Cloud. And this is a new take on logistics, computing, and data. Thanks.
Hey there guys, so my name is Brad, I co-founded Premonition and we build a real-time cloud-based logistics optimization system. So the logistics industry as it stands today is an old industry and it's an immense industry. It makes up about 10% of every single country's GDP, but it's in an immense state of change at the moment. The rise of digital commerce has meant that the entire industry has begun to shift, and the tools that they have available to them to manage their networks haven't kept up. Right now, 40% of suburban deliveries fail on the first attempt. When you look at global shifts in the logistics space, we see a huge trend towards consumer-driven logistics, not because the logistics industry is pushing it there, but because more sophisticated online retailers and consumers are demanding a service level that the logistics industry has never been able to provide before. They don't want parcels to arrive at 3 p.m. to their homes, they're at work. So there's a problem set that's coming into play right as disruptive players are entering the market and using hybrid networks where you've got individuals who aren't a part of a courier business making deliveries and I guess presenting a real challenge where the existing networks, which are very inflexible, very large, aren't able to take advantage of these same opportunities that an Uber would be. So looking at what tools are actually out there, the best breed, and unfortunately the industry has actually been very slow to adopt best breed, but best breed at the moment is optimization tools, which look at what you know you have to do tomorrow, run an optimization algorithm over it and give you a schedule. If there's any traffic, if a new job comes in, it's now up to humans to try and remedy that. And it's one of the most, road networks are pretty much the most variable network that humans operate on. These systems break constantly. Optimization is good, but it's only part of the story. So what we built at Premonition was a logistics optimization cloud that works in real time. It's constantly thinking. Every few seconds it comes up with a new solution for a logistics company. That means that a taxi can drop off somebody nearby where you need a parcel delivered, and you can dynamically provision them into your network. Somebody could say that they're not going to be home, and you can react to that information within seconds. But as importantly, we can look at trends. And so as a consumer, you saying constantly that I'm not available sticks in our system's memory. And if we know that at 2 p.m. you're just not available, the system won't try and make deliveries then. The system can also tell how long it's going to take to find a parking space at a particular shopping center, or how long it generally takes you to get to the door. It's a big data approach to logistics. So we initially built this system actually looking at a very different problem to commercial logistics. We were looking at food banking. We wanted to make it so that any individual with a mobile phone and 2 hours to spare could volunteer to help move food around for charities. We saw a lot of success with that project. Woolworths have put their hand up to roll it out nationwide, and our partner Food Bank Australia is working with them to do that. But in the trials we did with them, we saw a 70% increase in the amount of food that was able to be delivered into communities than ever before. We're really happy with that success, but what we realized is the model that we were using to develop the system, because it is so complicated, wasn't sustainable. So since the beginning of this year, we've founded Premonition, which is the commercial incarnation of our food banking work, to try and build a sustainable model around the program. We've been really blown away by the response from industry. We currently have thousands of commercial users paying to be on the system. We've been featured in some of the world's most notable publications, and that's really helped to drive both adoption of the system, but also our internal feedback and an understanding of what people perceive as the value in our product. Right now, over 900 news agencies across Australia are on the Premonition platform, and you can redirect your parcels to any one of them, and we can use them to move parcels between traditional courier networks and taxis and things like that. We're working with Ingogo on a small trial there. And I mentioned before, sustainability was the key. We've created a SaaS and a clip-based funding model, and currently we're projecting over $1 million revenue for this first year of our operation, which is something we're really excited about. I've got 10 seconds left, so I'm going to just start on this side. So our goal for the next year is to double that, and we really would appreciate your assistance in reaching that goal. Thank you.
Congratulations, Brad, on all the hard work you've done so far. Our next competitor is Harry Lucas from the University of Adelaide, talking about SEER Insights, and he's the third competitor in our data division. SEER Insights is concerned with improving the accuracy of yield prediction in the agricultural industry.
Okay. So I'm Harry Lucas, and I'm here today with my partners Liam Ellel and Petros Bakopoulos. We're founders at SEER Insights. So SEER Insights is a company that's concerned with yield estimation. But what is yield estimation? Put simply, it's determining how much of a crop is going to be harvested off of a plot of land at the end of the season. We are currently operating out of South Australia's wine industry because it's our test market, and we work with wineries in determining how many grapes are going to come off of their vineyard. This is a massive problem for them because they currently expect 30% inaccuracy in these predictions. So in a winery that's expecting 100,000 tonnes of grapes to come off of their vineyard, they have 30,000 tonnes of uncertainty around that. On that, they have to organise to get those grapes to the winery, and each truck can only carry 20 tonnes, so trying to organise those trucks is a nightmare. Trying to organise all the chemicals that you need to use to be able to process that into wine, and trying to schedule labour. It's a huge problem for the wineries. Furthermore, the grower can spend over a week performing all of these yield estimates and then still only get this reduced accuracy. The winery is upset because they didn't get the accuracy they wanted. The grower's upset because that was a week they could have been playing with their kids or something. This is a $250 million problem just in Australia's wine industry. It's massive. And our solution to this is the Great Brain system. So Great Brain began its life as a data analytics platform which better understands how grapes grow on the vine. Basically what happens is the grower walks around in their vineyard and collects data about their vine. That data is streamed into the cloud and combined with environmental factors, which renders itself as a yield estimate for the wineries. It's presented to the winery in a cloud platform that's tailored to them, and the grower in a platform that's on their mobile and easily accessible. We don't currently have any competitors. There's no competing products, and our system actually learns vineyards over time. So after a year of using our system, we've already built up the accuracy enough that it's actually going to be a significant drop in performance if you were to move over to another system. That's just an inherent part of how it works. We have contracts with some of Australia's largest wineries. In fact, one of them is a global multi-billion-dollar winery, and we'll be testing our software with them this season. We're really excited to be doing that because we're going to be showing that our system can get yield accuracies of less than 10%, which is over a 70% increase over the current performance of the systems that they're currently using. Our business will be software as a service, and we'll be charging on a per hectare basis, making us as accessible to small independent wineries as we are to large global corporate wineries. And that's important because the wineries cover the cost for this system, not the growers. If we were to win the HILLS Young Innovator of the Year award, we would use the funds to pay for things that we're currently incapable of doing, like speaking to lawyers about these contracts that we need to be filling, and also having software compliance testing done. Wineries are very concerned about the security of their data, and we want a brand name to certify that it's safe. Furthermore, the focus of the HILLS Awards this year is on biosecurity and healthcare, and we believe that improving the accuracy of information pertaining to food that we eat, that we all eat every day, is going to be able to help both of these fields. Our vision for this system extends far beyond just grapes, though. We believe that this system has applications all throughout global food production. In fact, we've already been contacted by people in the almond industry and the dried fruit industry in improving the accuracy of their yield estimates as well. We're really excited to be doing this because we know that Great Brain can improve the accuracy of yield estimation globally and ultimately help feed the world. Thank you.
Congrats, Harry. Our next presentation is from Alexandria Garland from Sign On Site. And Sign On Site helps organisations safeguard their employees, contractors and visitors by leveraging the technology already in their pockets.
Hi, my name is Alexandria Garland and I'm representing the award-winning app Sign On Site. There are so many issues with safety on construction sites. In an industry where you're more likely to be killed on site than if you were a police officer, safety should be a higher priority, but it just isn't. In 2012, after several horrifying deaths on projects across the ACT, there was an inquiry into construction safety. In November that year, the Getting Home Safely report was released, with 28 recommendations for improving the culture, practices, and responsibilities surrounding safety. One of the overwhelming themes of the report was that people seem to spend too much time focusing on paperwork. The enormous amount of liability placed on contractors to meet compliance had ended up resulting in complex paperwork systems. When Mitch, our now CEO, came to me with the idea of creating a digital sign-in app, I was working as a project manager for over $20 million worth of work. There were a couple of hundred subcontractors working under me, all of whom I was liable for. Clearly, I said yes. Sign On Site allows a worker to create an account, then the app works completely in the background, automatically signing them on and off sites as they enter and leave, ensuring that the site visitor register is always kept up to date. From a management perspective, Sign On Site shows them who is on site. It can alert workers in the event of an emergency, as well as providing a thorough list of inducted personnel and their relevant tickets or qualifications for auditing purposes. Automating these processes gives our clients all of their details for compliance and puts the information at the site manager's fingertips, day to day, to keep things running smoothly. There is currently an approximate 3-hour productivity lag when setting up a new worker on a paper-based system. However, when completed with Sign On Site, the rapid onboarding process saves on average $17,500 per site. Construction as an industry is beginning to adopt technology in a really meaningful way. As the industry is often focused on convenience as well as price, Sign On Site has aligned with this by focusing on the workers and how they interact with technology, even going so far as to make sure that our buttons are big enough for a bricklayer's hands. As Sign On Site focuses on how individuals interact with their sites, it's a solution that helps the industry reimagine its processes and improve productivity. Where other solutions merely seek to digitise paper forms, Sign On Site leverages the app as a direct line of safety to the individual, not only on their first site, but every site that they visit thereafter. By leveraging the devices that are already on site and essentially in their own pockets, our clients aren't required to invest in costly infrastructure to reach this level of safety for their people. Thanks to this ease of adoption and the inherent transiency of the industry's workforce, we achieved an exposure of 364 users across 55 companies on 3 sites with just our beta customer. Our 18-month goal is to sign up 150 site managers at $800 a month subscription cost. This will give us access to 50,000 users working under 2,000 subcontractors, totaling $130,000 in monthly revenue. We have also been informed by the market that once our additional features are completed, we'll be able to double our existing price point. We also have the option of creating a second revenue stream wherein we charge the subcontractor $5 per employee per month in order to get access to the data we have compiled to check things like timesheets and job costings. At the end of the day, every smartphone is a Swiss Army knife of tools that we can unlock to help provide the next generation in safety technology, whether it's monitoring the location of people in an emergency or detecting a fall. Sign On Site is unlocking the power already in our pockets. If successful for the HILLS Young Innovator Award, we would invest the prize in the research and development of micro-location and peer-to-peer mesh networking framework to fully unlock the potential of mobile devices on sites everywhere. We have the opportunity to change the way organisations safeguard their employees to help Australia and ultimately the world get home safely. Thank you.
Thanks, Alexandria. So our second mobile contestant is Andrew Suber, and he'll be talking about his product SMS Secure, or not. Looks like Andrew wasn't here. So we'll skip to Tremaine, and Tremaine is going to be talking about his new Braille sensor. And the Braille sensor is designed for many blind people within our society that have difficulties with reading and learning the alphabet of Braille.
Yes, it's actually there. Hello, my name is Tremaine Pendragon, and I'm the founder of Debatable. Yes, that works. I'd like to start by asking you a question. Can you read this? Now imagine that next week you become blind and you have to feel your way through these dots. Do you think you could read it? Sorry. Would you be surprised? This word is help. I chose this because the word help means that the 350,000 people in Australia who cannot read Braille would be able to read it with the Braille sensor. These people have gone blind after birth through illnesses. Help. I'm here today to provide the solution to this problem and give this help through the coming of the Braille sensor. This is an innovative device which allows the visually impaired person who cannot read Braille. Simply put, it translates the Braille to read it out loud. It is worn like a glove, and all the electrical elements are in a small compact compartment on the top of the hand. And at the tip of the finger there is a sensor which will read and translate the Braille. With the Braille sensor, it uses easy for reading or learning Braille and gain back their independence within the community. Braille also has a massive effect on their independence in their social lives as well. It will give a better quality of life and give them the confidence to go out and use the Braille sensor to help them communicate and get around. I found that was limited research done on this idea and nothing's at market yet. I thought a lot about the user when developing the Braille sensor. as I feel it should be a natural extension of the hand. Also, I felt it had to be a low cost, as the user should be able to be afforded for anyone. I'm aiming the final product ready in 16 months. I'm also aiming to have, within the first year of market, 15,000 users. I'll be able to accomplish this by seeking partnerships with companies like Vision Australia and recommending the brow sensor to their clients. The cost of the parts and the prototypes are $50, and I estimate it to take about 3.5 hours to make. So through mass production, we'll be able to lower the cost of making them to around $50, including labor. We aim to sell the product to the end user at around We aim to sell it for about $250 to the user, and companies like the NDSA would be able to help fund these people to make it cost near nothing to them, giving a profit of $200 per unit. And therefore, if we achieve our first year goal, we'll have $3 million. Improvements that we'll be willing to make is the sound improvements to make the user be able to hear it better. Further development, also upgrading to different languages, providing them the ability to translate for different languages. Readability will allow this to read the whole sentences, not just letters. We also have an alternate market for tourists, as the brow sensor is an easy way to translate Braille. So any cheap way to translate Braille, making it a cheap and effective way for tourists to read signs and communicate when they do not know the common language of the country that they're in. The skills I've been able to use in the making of the brow sensor include design, electrical, programming, and I've sought help with the marketing and business matters. If I've won the HILLS Award, I'll put the money into making the final products and mass production, and also innovative ways of advertising for blind people. Back to my original statement. Can you read this? Thank you very much.
Congratulations, Tremaine. What a cool device. At the moment, our last competitor from the mobile division is Jarrell from iNemia. And iNemia is the first simple, non-invasive and easily accessible screening tool for anemia. iNemia analyses photos taken by the user and the inner lining of the lower eyelid together with a special colour reference.
Cool. Hi, so as I can't remember your name now, but as introduced, my name is Gerald, and I'm a bit of a weird one as well. I'm actually a final year medical student and a huge computer geek. And today I'm presenting iNemia, which is the world's first non-invasive, easily accessible tool for screening for anemia. What is anemia? The medical definition is simply the lack of red blood cells as measured by hemoglobin. That doesn't sound terribly impressive, but consider that 2 billion people worldwide suffer from anemia. And out of that, 293 million are children. An impact of this is that anemia causes up to 20% of maternal deaths during childbirth. If you were a child with severe anemia in a developing country, your risk of dying that year would be greater than if you were involved in a high-speed motor vehicle accident in Victoria. And as this map shows, anemia is a serious problem in developing countries. No one's going to deny that. But even in Australia, there are some subpopulations which are at severely increased risk. During our team's medical placements in rural and remote Australia, we found that up to 55% of women and 80% of children in Aboriginal populations in Australia were anemic. And another subpopulation within Australia which are at increased risk are voluntary blood donors. These noble people, after giving so much of their blood, tend to become anemic. And this is extremely dangerous for them because if giving blood while anemic, this can lead to severe health consequences. And as a result, the Australian Red Cross mandates that all potential blood donors be screened for anemia prior to donation. The causes of anemia worldwide are mainly iron deficiency, malnutrition, and worm infection. And these are all eminently treatable with a few cents each. However, the challenge lies in detecting anemia to begin with, because the symptoms of anemia are often vague and non-specific. However, all current screening methods for anemia either require invasive blood tests or expensive electronic devices, meaning that people at home have no way to tell if they are anemic. And so me and my teammates set out to build iNemia, the world's first novel, non-invasive screening test for anemia. To do this, we leveraged on both our medical training and our love of technology. In medical school, you get taught to look at the colors of the lower eyelid, this part and that part. The problem is, more pale this is, the higher the risk of someone being anemic. The problem, however, is that it's very hard to tell the difference between here and there. How many of you can tell the difference between these two eyelids? And as a result, the answer that comes back often varies by different levels of experience as well as lighting conditions. So we leveraged upon the most powerful sensor that everyone has in their pocket, a camera, to have the user take a photo, if I can get this working. It's not working, but anyway, to have the user take a photo of their eye and have that resultant image upload itself to a cloud where the machine analyzes it, compensating for different lighting conditions as well as the camera models. I would now demo this by trying it on myself and see if the live demo works. So all you simply do is put on your eyelid, take a photo with a simple piece of paper, and send it up to the cloud for further processing. Let me see if this thing works. Oh, there you go. So that's a picture of what it will look like on my phone. And we then said, how well does this work? So we went and tested in rural and urban Victoria, and after testing more than 100 patients, we found that our system can pick up to 95% of people with severe anemia, comparable to or surpassing some of the best clinicians. Our target markets from here are mainly those with large single-payer organizations such as the Red Cross. We intend to target, for instance, voluntary blood donors, and with more than 1.3 million blood donations each year collected in Australia alone, and at a cost of over $2 per test with current screening methods, we estimate that anemia can have significant cost-saving implications as well as the ability to extend screening for anemia beyond the confines of the blood collection center. Furthermore, this number rises up to 96 million internationally, with this being estimated as a shortfall as there's currently not enough blood being donated in developing countries such as India and China. And you probably won't be able to see it from here, but that result has come back in less than 2 minutes, showing that my result's 126, that I'm thankfully not anemic. It's good for me, good news for me. And as medical professionals, social outcomes are also really important for us. Going back to our initial talk of developing countries, we are actually working with Save the Children to evaluate the impact of micronutrient screening programs as well as deworming programs, partnering with them to see how we can reduce anemia in these severely afflicted countries. Our team, that's Jennifer, who is my co-founder, are basically medical doctors who are also technology geeks. I'm a final year medical student, and I will be also working as a doctor in the Alfred Health next year, but I've also performed and published research into computer vision and applications of IT in the medical space. And our team's unique position in understanding both the problem and the solution means that iNemia has been recognized internationally as well as nationally, winning the Microsoft Imagine Cup as well as Small Technologies Cluster's MedTech's Got Talent. And as a result, we've got access to really great contacts, mentorship, and one of whom you can see up on the board here. And we've got great organizations around the world who want to work with us. So where does that leave us? Well, we want your help. Our next steps from here are to conduct a large international trial, and we believe that the HILLS Young Innovator Award can help us work with our partners, give us cash funding to conduct these trials, and help make screening for anemia as simple as taking a selfie. Thank you.
Congratulations. So that brings us to the end of the Pitchfest for this morning. Thank you all for attending. Please don't run away. Please stay around, have a chat. This room will be open to us for a little while. Thank you to the judges. From here, the judges will now go and deliberate and decide on who the winner is, really, for the categories and the overall. So thank you for your time. We appreciate that. And thank you to everyone for coming. Feel free to stick around and have a chat.